I'm one of the most decorated Soviet and Russian athletes in history, if you consider chess players athletes, of course. I played under the Soviet and Russian flag, and I always felt that I had to do my best to my country, and as longer Putin stays in power, less of the chance of Russia to survive as the civilized state in the 21st century. Putin is a cancer that is eating my country from inside.
Welkom in zijn wereld. Zijn nieuwe wereld. Garry Kasparov. Ja, hij is ouder geworden, maar absoluut niet milder. We spreken hem in Amsterdam, waar hij zijn boek Het wordt winter presenteert. De man die in 1985, nog maar 22 jaar oud, wereldkampioen schaken wordt en zijn land laat juichen met zijn sprankelende spel. De man die uitgroeit tot de beste schaker ter wereld en een symbool wordt van het nieuwe Rusland na het communisme. Die man die leeft nu in ballingschap. Op de vlucht voor Vladimir Poetin. Volgens Kasparov is de Russische president, die ooit carrière maakte in de geheime dienst KGB, nu een maffiabaas, een dictator die de wereldvrede bedreigt.
Once KGB is always KGB. That's Putin's own words. The first thing he did as a president of Russia, he restored Soviet anthem. Yes, it is a symbolic gesture, but it's a very important symbolic gesture. It's like a Freudian message. If given a chance, I would love to repair the damage. And he repeatedly said that collapse of the Soviet Union was the greatest geopolitical disaster of the 20th century. And unfortunately, the complacency of the Western leaders, their unwillingness to understand the true nature of Putin's regime, helped Putin to sort of establish his grip on power in the first two terms, then to sort of take a little pause with his puppet, Medvedev, being their technical president. And then Putin came back as the all-powerful dictator. And as every dictator in the past, he reached a point where he didn't need friends anymore. Now he needs enemies. And he's very good in creating enemies.
Nu Poetins invloed in Oost-Oekraïne compleet is, hij de Krim heeft geannexeerd en sinds kort ook een belangrijke rol speelt in het Syrië-conflict, nu wordt volgens Kasparov ook de westerse leiders echt duidelijk dat Poetin slecht nieuws is en geen man is om zaken mee te doen. Hij moet verdwijnen, zegt Kasparov.
Nobody will rise against Putin as long as Putin looks like a big leader. As long as he can defy Obama, and he's very good in just creating these impressions. When he went to New York to the General Assembly of the United Nations, and this reluctant handshake with Obama to demonstrate that I had to meet him. Next day, Russian planes bombed American-backed opposition in Syria. And even if you have some generals in Russia that could see that the big boss now is crazy, or some oligarchs, Russian bureaucracy, how they can challenge an all-powerful leader who's so lucky and so influential that even Obama and Merkel and Hollande, they all are trying to keep good relations with him.
Kasparov heeft Rusland inmiddels verlaten. Als een van de belangrijkste oppositieleden werd hij vaak lastiggevallen en hij is in 2007 zelfs gearresteerd tijdens een verkiezingsdemonstratie. Nadat hij in 2012 opnieuw werd gearresteerd, verhuisde hij naar Amerika.
Staying in Russia these days is absolutely impossible. So I followed the advice of my great friend and colleague Boris Nemtsov, who unfortunately didn't follow the same advice and stayed there to the last day, blasting Putin, and he was gunned down in front of Kremlin last February.
Het neerhalen van de MH17 had Nederland en de rest van de wereld definitief wakker moeten schudden, zegt Kasparov. Maar, en dat is essentieel, het Westen wil graag blijven praten met Poetin. En dat is volgens Kasparov precies de verkeerde aanpak.
I think the investigators, they know who did it. And you have to demand Mr. Putin to deliver these people to justice. He will refuse. And then you have to act. Just to start, punishing him with sanctions. You can even Holland alone can do a lot of nasty things to Russia.
But we love his oil and gas.
Well, come on, this is Europe. Even at the peak of these economic relations, Putin supplied about 1/3 about European oil and gas consumption, and Russia sold 80% of its oil and gas to Europe. Now, who has the leverage? Yes, it will. The Dutch, some business here will suffer, but It's a confrontation. It's unavoidable. In pretending that you can, you can make a peace with him and to find common ground, it's an invitation for further aggressions. Because Putin's interest is to make sure that European Union will be eventually dissolved as an organization. Europe will be divided, will not be able to oppose his aggression in the eastern part of Europe, and he will keep creating conflicts. And there's more to come.